I really should have a set intro and outro, I should say, for these videos. I'm up to video 8 now, and I've no idea. Before I click record, I have no idea what I'm about to say. So apologies for the lack of professionalism. So this is video number 8. We're going to be doing a SEO blog, and this is the one that ironically was at the top of Bing, everybody's favorite search engine. Who doesn't want people to see their normal search history on Firefox? And this was top. This was Moz. This is the Moz Blog, which is a cool name. I like that. And Scott Taff wrote a blog post called Build a Search Intent Dashboard to Unlock Better Opportunities. And again, it's one of those titles that I think I only know 2 of those words, unlock and build, possibly. So we're just going to have a quick look at this. Again, in my quest to try and keep this under 10 minutes, I'll see how it goes. So let's just crack on with this. So let's see what we can do to make this a little bit funnier. Let's look for some gag opportunities. The opening title there, the opening byline makes me think there already might be gags in this. So this could be a short video. The author's views are entirely his or her own, excluding the unlikely event of hypnosis, and may not always reflect the views of Moz. That was good. So we've been talking a lot about search intent this week. So again, another example of something else you could put in there that isn't relevant to the blog post, but something that you've already been talking about, also been talking about. So we've been talking a lot about search intent this week, but we've also been talking about low-carb diets, CrossFit, and whether people over the age of 40 should be allowed to use the word dude. Something, just something to tag onto the back of that to show you what else you've been talking about this week. And if you've been following along, you're likely already aware of how search intent is essential for a robust SEO strategy. You could also tag on to the end of that. If you've not been following along, it's still essential. It's just that you don't know about it yet. If, however, you've ever labored for hours, let's just highlight this. If, however, you've ever labored for hours classifying keywords by topic and search intent, only to end up with a ton of data you don't really know what to do with, then this post is for you. That's quite a complicated sentence. There's quite a few ideas in there that we could pick apart. I should always say, right, when I'm doing these videos, I'm just looking for any opportunity for gaggery. That may not be a word. Just looking for any potential for joke, so I kind of go over the top. You would never put a joke in every single line, because after a while it just dilutes the whole effect. But for this, just as a kind of learning exercise, it's good to just see what you can get in. As I always say, you're much better to have too much and then filter it down, without muddying the message, than to have too little. So we're going to extremes here. So if, however, you've ever labored for hours classifying keywords by topic and search intent. So that's the first idea, that apparently it takes for hours classifying keywords by topic and search intent. So get really specific with this. You've said labored for hours. How many hours does it take? Compare it to something. I've labored for so many hours, I could have learned Japanese. Or in my case, 2 videos ago, when I struggled to say the word actuarial, like I say, I've labored for so long, I could have actually learned how to say the word actuary. If you've labored for hours, tell me how long you've labored for hours. Tell me what you could have done with that time, and then really exaggerate it. I could have learned 17 foreign languages. I could have finally learned my child's name. Or if you're somebody with a lot of kids, or find somebody with a lot of kids and use them as an example. So if you've ever labored for hours, show us how many hours you've got, or how many hours it took you and what you could have done with that time. Only to end up with a ton of data. And again, the same thing, a ton of data. A ton is a specific amount, but when it comes to data, everybody's version of a ton of data will likely to be different. Scott Taft knows about computers. He knows what a ton of data looks like. For me, somebody who has no idea about using computers, a ton of data would just be 2 binary bits. But so this would be a really good example of how you could use maybe imagery. So let's do a live internet search. This is always dubious. Let's go to Giphy. So my own blog post, I've used a GIF before that. So I'm thinking, how could we display a ton of data? So the first thing that came to mind was the idea of the image of the Matrix. Black background, green digits going fast, 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 past the screen, faster than that kind of thing. So you say you've got a ton of data, and you could really highlight that. You could really say, if you've labored for hours, you know what it's like. You end up with a ton of data that you don't know what to do with. And this kind of GIF would give, what the heck am I looking at? I'm just looking at a ton of data. I've done it, so now what? That would be a really good way of displaying that. But the other one I find that I've seen before is, there's a scene in Bruce Almighty when he has a filing cabinet, and he opens the filing cabinet, and it looks like a small filing cabinet. But when he opens it, it goes back. There we go. So if you're going to display what a ton of data is, have a normal filing cabinet and then have it shoot out loads of data. So it looks like a small job, but you actually end up with a massive, massive amount of data that is far too overwhelming. Oh, let's not. You shouldn't do live internet searches. Terrible idea. So think of a different way. How can I specify a ton of data, what that looks like? How can I do it in a funny way that makes people smile and really communicates how much data you're left with? And let's see what else we could do with this. Let's just use this page as a quick example, because I'm determined to get one of these videos under 10 minutes. So even with this sentence, we've got a few concepts. We've got labored for hours. How many hours? What does that labor look like? Is it fun labor? No, it's horrible labor. It's the kind of, you could be sarcastic with it. You could say, if, however, you've ever labored for hours classifying keywords by topic and search intent, you'll know what stimulating and invigorating work it is. It's up there with organizing your tax receipts or categorizing your nasal clippings by date, not by size, obviously. So how can you get really specific with this? So even in just this one sentence, and again, you wouldn't do all of these, but even in this just one sentence, you've got a few examples. Labored for hours. What is the labor for hours? Classifying keywords by topic and search intent. If that's boring work and it's hard, boring work, exaggerate that. Tell me how boring it is. Compare it to something. Or if you want to be sarcastic, make it sound interesting, but fake interesting. It's kind of interesting work to somebody who likes spending Saturday nights organizing their carpet samples. And then with the last one, only to end up with a ton of data you don't really know what to do with. Again, picture that. Show me what a ton of data looks like and how hard it is to manipulate it. I don't know what to do with it. Is it like juggling jellyfish? What's it like? So this is the post for you. So let's just do a bit more. I'm going to share how to take all this sweet keyword data you've categorized, put it into a Power BI dashboard. I have no idea what that is. And then start slicing and dicing to uncover a ton of insights faster than you could ever before. So they've used the kind of metaphor of slicing and dicing, but I don't know if a dashboard or what Power BI dashboard is a slicing and dicing thing. So you could say, I'm going to show, this post is going to be your Kenwood multimixer or your Kenwood power slicer. I'm going to take all that big data you've got in a block, slice it and dice it, and get it into a workable format faster than ever before. And again, you could go to a GIF of a slicer. I'm trying to think now if this has a rude connotation. Hopefully not. But like the infomercials you have, that's slime. Oh dear, really? So, I knew I should have stopped the Giphy search at 2. Getting 2 right was probably the bulk I was going to do today. So yeah, stick with it. If you're going to use slicing and dicing, go the whole hog with it. Think of this post like a Kenwood slicing kitchen utensil. You've got the big keyword unmanageable data. You put it in the blender, you put it in the slicer, and it comes out slice and dice, ready for you to sort, something like that. So your keyword, I think we'll do it. So we'll do one more. So every great keyword search analysis starts with keyword research. You could just exaggerate that and say, well, actually what it begins with is a deep sigh and me firing up the coffee machine and clearing away my calendar, getting myself prepared, doing 4 hours of mind-numbingly boring work. Really exaggerate it, because it does start with keyword research, but what it actually starts with is you going, oh my God, I've got to do this. So exaggerate it. Tell me what it really starts with. Tell me if it's daunting, make it sound really daunting. So you know what? I'll leave it there for now. I think we're just under 10 minutes. So that's the SEO blog. If you've got any other pages you'd like me to feature, do let me know. I will promise I'll work on an intro and an outro because I should be professional about this. I bought a headset, 20 quid. So, you know, I'm right up there with the professionals, even though I'm not. So that's how to look at a Moz blog post. The keys are, you know, get specific, really highlight things, take things to the exaggerated extreme. You know, if you're going to labor for hours, tell me what you could have done with those hours. If it's boring work, tell me how boring it is. Compare it to something. If you've got a ton of data, show me what that data looks like. Show me how hard it is to work with. Make it fun. So hopefully you found that useful. Any questions, shoot them below in the comments. I should say like, share, subscribe to videos, but I won't. I do hope you have a fabulous day, though, and I'll speak to you on the next one.